Okay, so I'll start my screen. So today, I think I will just continue from where we left the other time, so that at least we can explore the advantages that we have when we are using Excel. So the other time I say that anything that we know about Excel at the moment, I find that it's I use the word shallow, because Excel is something that is very much powerful, and currently with the 360, I think there's an embedment whereby you find that they are using other things like Python is being embedded into Excel in a way so that maybe we can use it in doing different work. So when we are using our data, this Excel worksheet, the best thing to do is try your best to decide what are you trying to do with the data that you have. Maybe you have a very big data. At the end of the day, most organizations you'll find that they have very huge data that needs to be looked at. I'll just open one here. I'm very fond of trying to find the best way to maybe manipulate our data. So I realized that Excel has, if you are using data, you'll find that you can use only up to 1 million. Is it 1 million? Let me see. Up to almost, this is 1 million or 1 million entries into Excel. But now with different plugins, you'll find that you can you can have data that is above that 1 million. So the best thing to use is pivot tables. When you are working with them, it becomes easy to manipulate your data. And also with the pivot table, most of the time you'll find that you'll avoid using the formulas here. So most common formulas that we have the sum, the auto sum functions. In this section, we have the sum, average, count numbers, max, mean, and if you want to look at other more functions, you can just click like that, and then you'll be able to find them there. So in most of them, you'll never use them in your lifetime. So it depends with the type of profession that you are in. So I think there are these ones for those people who are mostly in finance sector and so on. So this is what you'll be able to use when you are trying to find different functions. And then we have the logicals. The logical ones are the ones that are usually used a lot, because I believe we all know about and if, no false, if errors, if NA, ifs, and then not, or switch. All these most of us know, maybe. Let me not assume. But if you don't know, these ones are usually used when you are maybe running different data and you want maybe to give a condition into your data. Maybe you want to gain something from that data. You can use these logical data functions. The most used function is usually sum. So that is something that you should always know. And then also you find that maybe if you have a data that is available, I'm trying to open one. So I'll use one for CFI. Was it CFI? Yes. I think it was used in the example of CFI. If you did bidder, bidder, that is bidder, you'll be able to see this. So I'll just borrow that exactly. It's the data that I think it was good. So a data set like this one, you'll find that it's a very huge data set. And looking at it, even you see, trying to move from one point to another, it's very huge. So maybe me try out something. Yeah. So you see it goes to up to FD, and then when you try to double click there, you'll find that those dates up there, there's a way that they have been organized. Like they're not pretty in a way. So like let's say you want to use something like the formulas and functions. So in a data like this one, it's not like that interesting to use at the moment. Let's look at maybe the number when you go below. So that is almost 3,000 entries, and looking at it, it's something that, okay, I think you are getting the what I'm trying to talk about. And I think most of the time when you are downloading your data from maybe a database or any software, you'll find that maybe they come in this form in a way or in different forms. So you'll need maybe to work on such a data before even you start even thinking about things like formulas and functions that you are going to use. So I think I thought about this, and I thought it was the best thing that we could start with, so that we see how you can move from this to something that is a little bit organized and something clean, something that can make sense when you are maybe working with your data. So for something like this, the best thing to do, I know, like you can decide to delete something like up there. That is the first reaction maybe that you'll think about, or someone might think about, but I don't think it's the best thing to do. So I'll start by like looking at how to, maybe in case you have such a data, you will start with how maybe you are going to clean it up, and then make it as sensible as possible. So something also new that we'll be looking at is how to like normalize those dates that we were looking at the other time, maybe when we are using the Power Query and maybe the Power Pivot. So when you are maybe when you are getting a new data, and or maybe when you are working in an organization where you find that maybe you are dealing with the data, because most of the time you find that you're updating your data each and every time. And let's say maybe you want to normalize your data in a way. So when you are working with Excel, I would advise, or I prefer to do with just working on the normal normalization, where you normalize your data, and then from there you transform it, and then from there you can maybe use Power Pivot for reporting. Because I think looking at it, the Power Pivot and Power BI, not Power BI and Power Queries, when you go to Power BI, they are more simpler in a way. But when you get a new data, the best thing to do is you try by maybe using something like Power Query, and then after Power Query, you can use now Power Pivot. So quickly, I'll just go through how to do that normalization. I think this is the best data that I can now use on this part, and then like use the other one. The other one is more organized. This one, I think there are some data sets that are missing, because we'll need maybe the store names, things like this is a fact table where it's recording real-time data, and then we have dimension tables which are not here. I think I did not like clear it when I was trying to prepare for this session, but at least I will use this to explain how to normalize your data, so that you can find something like this. Oh, let me find another normalized data. It's somewhere here. Something like this. Okay, so that one is not opening, or maybe it's opened in another. Yeah, something like this. So you'll find that this data set has been normalized. So this one can be used to like run that to run now the Power Pivot, analyze the data through the Power Pivot. So the first thing that you do, I will use this one to import my data. So you will start by importing the data. So I think the most important thing that maybe I can say, maybe from my experience or from like struggling with understanding most of the formulas, is that I think it's best if you work smart than work in a way that you want to understand each and everything, each and everything that Excel can give, because I don't think you'll be able to like get everything the way they are, because you'll find that the more you continue like moving, the more maybe the tool also expands in a way, and also like the more the things that we used to think they were like the big things become maybe like outdated. Like nowadays, I don't think there's someone. It's rare to find that maybe things like VLOOKUPs, those lookups are used, because now with Power Pivot, everything has just changed. It can help us maybe do those lookups without even like struggling that much. So I'll just import the data. I think we all know how to import the data from, I think it's a workbook. Yeah, no, it's not that one. I'm supposed to import CSV. It's a text file. Just allow my PC to load. I believe I'm audible, or I'm still in the meet. Okay. So also you can do more research on, apart from DAX, there's also there's also M language. That is a language that is used by these tools. When you can you can use it like you can code in a way. So I've not like grasped the how, but I think it's something that is very much interesting when you try to look at it. So I need this data, the cells. So you just import. When you start importing, you'll find that this is how the data will look like. So it's a comma separated and so on. So based on the first 200 rows, so you transform.
Augustine.
Yes.
A quick one, is the language, the M language that you are talking about, is the same that is used in the VBA, or is a different language?
VBA is something, I think VBA is something different, because I don't know even if it's used in VBA. I don't know the language that is used in VBA, but if it's the M language, I think it's almost the same. Oh, this one will not until I transform this. Let me just transform it and then we'll look at that.
There's no problem.
So that we can be sure if it's the same thing.
Okay.
So you update your once you upload your file, you'll find that it will look something like this. So the first thing to do is to mostly just try to understand your data. The first thing you'll find that each and every column is in form of it's in a text file, because most of the time if Excel is not able to maybe interpret the data that is there, it will just give default form, that is default type data type, which is a text file, whether it's a date or anything. So something like this, you'll find that the first thing that we'll need to do is to remove the unnecessary like rows, like these first 10 rows. That is the first thing that we'll do. So also, Something I learned also is that this type, changing the type and so on, is something that you will always need to remove. I think because on the last training that we had, you find that we had an issue about the dates, where the dates were being like the dates were being the data type for the dates were being taken to be like to be in a text format, and that was an issue that we were trying to like see how we can maybe deal with when we are working on our data. So the first thing is to you need to come to the option part, and then that part of the query, and then you come to the regional setting. You need to look at the local where the location where the data, like the data is reading. So there are usually two big locales that you need to like always grasp. If one does not work, the other one will always work. You will need to like that is the English US and English UK. So always, if your data is not like changing to the right date format, change the locale between. Just try to switch between the two. English UK or English US, it will always like try to work. So if it doesn't, you can. I think we'll try to explore more about that. So the first thing to do is to remove the rows. So remove top rows. So okay, so this one is asking me to insert a step. Let me remove that first and come to that, so that this one will come and remove it later, because it's not advisable to change the data type at the beginning of the query, at the beginning of your transformation. So I'll come and remove rows. So remove top, remove bottom rows, remove alternate rows, and so on. So you can go through like this to understand each and every ribbon, what it like its functionality. And something that is very much interesting is that when you look at this Power Query, the Power Query for Excel itself, and the Power Query that we are using in Power BI, they are the same. So the more you understand maybe the one for Excel, I think there's only a very small difference between the two. Very small, even you cannot notice them. So if you just understand the two, it becomes easy for you to like it becomes easy for you to use both tools. At the end of the day, they are from the same company. So I'll go by removing rows. So I'll remove the first 10. So you click 10 and then click OK. So once you click OK like that, you'll find that these are our headers. So I will graduate these headers to be on the first row. So of course, you just use the first row as your header. So once you are done with that, there are a lot of things that we need to look at and also try to, before even we change the type. You see the type also has changed. It changed the first time up there. It came again and it changed the second time down here. So what we need to do is to transform our data so that at least it can be in a way that it can be understood by just anyone. So down here, you can start by looking at different rows. Like this one, it has a blank and then cells. And then when you load more, you'll find that there are others like the margin and the cells. So this is very relevant because this one will be able to, it will help us in when we are doing that transformation of that data to like separate the dates. In a way, okay, so it's creating a filter. So sometimes it's not harmful, but you can just remove those steps if they are unnecessary, so that to avoid having a lot of steps that can confuse you. So looking at the store is very important because we will use it maybe to check on other this is the fact table, so we'll be using it to check on the dimension table. So looking at it, the stores are going up to almost 40 stores. So 40 stores that are within this company. This company has, let's say, 40 branches. So categories, also those ones, there are 50 categories. So most of them are useful in when we need them. So reference, so you look at things that you don't need and then you remove them. So there's something called pivoting and unpivoting when it comes to Power Queries. So that is a step of like doing the data normalization when you are trying to normalize. You'll find that things like these dates, they need to be in the same row, like in the same column, one column, and then the, like let's say the dates and then the dates and the numbers should be like this. There is a way that they should be organized. So if I want to pivot or unpivot the data, I'll go to transform, and then we have unpivot, and then we have pivot. So unpivoting, it's when we want this data to be on different rows, because these are dates, and being like this, they are not like that pleasant, even for the eye. So what you do, you can decide to select these ones. So looking at these dates, it means that maybe if someone comes in 2018 and they want to update our dates, it will mean that at this stage, these dates will continue to move to other columns. And if we like select these ones and pivot the ones that we have selected, it will mean that we'll have limited this data from, like, in case we add another data sorry, for 2020, let's say if there's another data for 2020 in the next column, it will mean that it will not show up here because we'll have used this. So because of that, we will have to use these ones to do the pivoting. So no, to do the unpivoting, that is not pivoting, that this one will be unpivoting. So you can use shift and then select the others, like from this point to this, because I want to unpivot the date section so that it can display the dates and the cells, or both the cells and the margin figures below each other. So I'll just click unpivot, and then once, okay, sorry, I think I've mistaken there. So that is something that we need to look at. When you've made a mistake, you just like cancel the third step. You just click the X, but you become very much careful when you are canceling them. As long as you know what you are doing, it's good. But if you get confused, it will like ruin, like it will ruin some part of the data that is very much important for maybe working. So you just click shift, not control, and then on the unpivot you click that down arrow, and then unpivot. These unpivot columns, when you click unpivot columns, is what it happened. It just unpivoted like anyhowly, but you need to either unpivot other columns or unpivot only selected columns. But we want to unpivot this. If we could have used unpivot selected columns, we could have selected from this point to the end. But now that we have selected these ones, we'll unpivot other columns. So we'll unpivot the ones that are on the other end. So once you unpivot like that, you'll find that there's this part that has attributes. So, and this is dates. Okay. So being dates, it means that you'll find that these are dates and then these values. Okay. So it has given us 2 rows. So this is what we had up here, and then this is what we have down here. It has given us attributes. Attributes should be dates, and then we have the values. Values, which are the values for sales. That is values for sales and margins. When you look down, there is also like something like margins. Okay, so looking at this, let me look at what we have on the blank side so that I can be sure. Okay. Okay, that is okay. That is very fine. Looking at this, now I've done the unpivoting. So I think something that is very key here, you need to look at this changed type. It's changed type again here. If we decide to change this one to date, let's say like the instincts will always like want us to change it to date in a way. It will give you errors like that. That is change type number 1, change type number 2, change type number 3. And that one is contributing to now this one, us getting this error of the dates. Okay, this one is, let's say, decimal or something like that. Okay, at least this one is giving us what we need. But I'll just cancel that for now. And now use this one as an example. And I said, when you are changing the data type, don't change it when you are now at the beginning up there. You need to change it. It should be like almost the last thing that you do when you are like working on your data, because this is something like a pipeline. Like this is a pipeline that all this information is passing through for it to like be something of substance, like something that can be used when maybe you are doing your analysis. Today we are using a data for that is used to analyze sales. I think it's something that can be used to create, because it's sales and margin, so it's something that can be used to create the profit and losses, because at the end of the day, this is the sales, and then we have the margin, which we can use to get things like cost of sales. And then having cost of sales, it means you'll get the gross profit. Having the gross profit, you can get the gross profit margin. Having the gross profit margin, it means you'll need maybe those other variables, like maybe the other costs, like the expenditures, now the operational expenditures and so on, for you to get something like now the net profit. Now, a data like this one is very much crucial when you are working on it. So from this point, we have these cells. These cells, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense if the cells are like if we unpivot the cells as maybe the cells at the margin. Like the margin is below down here. You cannot see it, but it's here. So we can do the unpivoting. But now we have blank cells, like this one here. Looking at it, we have blanks. So what we need to do, even before we think of anything, is to now fill these blanks, because a blank cell. So we fill the blanks with null. There's a reason why we fill with null. I think I've forgotten the reason, but a null is like a 0, but a blank cell is like blank is not like any number. So filling this with null will help us like feed the rest of the rows with the right data, either a cell or a margin. Okay, so okay, sorry, I think it's trying to be okay. Select all and then click OK. So from this point, what I will do, I'll come and replace values. So just go up there, click replace, value to find. So we need to find the blanks. So we replace the blanks with NL, null. Oh, null. Yeah, null. Yeah, null, like that. So let me see. No. So once you click like that, you just click OK. Once you click OK and click there, you'll find that our blanks have been replaced by null. So there's a difference between blank and null. So like having blank, even if you change the data type, you'll find that it will also give you the errors the same way we've had up there. And each and anything you do here, it will just bring here. You see this one here is telling me filtered rows. I don't need those filtered rows at any given time. Okay. So this one, we've replaced our values up there. We had that, and you can look at these metrics up here. It will help you in looking at. We have 888 empties. That is it. It represents 84% and valued. You see, valued here. It's giving you 156%. No, 156, which is 16% of the entire data that is there. And then now never ever remove empties or remove any blank cell if you are not sure of what you need to do. The best thing you can do, I think, that is the last thing that you do after you changed the last time you changed your data type. Now you know that maybe that thing is it's not important at any, it's not important at all. That is when now you will have to remove that empty. Okay, so from this point, after replacing, so I want to fill the nulls with either the cells or the margin, so that at least I can now pivot them to the values. Okay, so click OK there. Okay. What you do, you go and click fill. We have fill there. Now we are filling down so that it can fill everything down. So when you look at here, now you'll notice that we no longer have our null values here. Null is here. When we come to fill, we don't have the nulls. Okay, so that is good. Everything is going on well. So also, you can just load more so that you are able to see margins and cells. Okay, so click OK. So what you do here, I think you click pivot. When you click pivot, value column, that is store. You are pivoting it on value column whether store, but I want to pivot it to this column here, which is value. Value is what I want to pivot. Advanced option. Let me look at advanced option. So what I need to do, you need to count all. So if you click count, okay, let's use count first so that we can see how to make those adjustments. So we click OK. So it will move here and now separate between the two. So now it's giving me store. We have null. Filtered. So here, this is what we are getting from this. So it's 101, okay. That is okay. Just a minute. Let me remove that first. Fill down. So I'll come to pivot again and then look at. So it's giving me store, but I want to do values instead of store. Aggregated function, count all. So the only thing that that can do, the reason why it's not giving me sum is because this one is the Excel function is, it's not sure whether to use text function or we have text and we have we have the I think this is whole number, so at the end of the day it's not able to understand what to do. So we want to let's just use count for now, and then you click OK. Okay, now that one is counting, and then now this one it's remaining. Okay, just something is up. I don't know even if you're supposed to use this one. Just oh yeah, I was correct. I'm supposed to use this one. So these are some of the things that you find that they are just a minute. Okay, I'm getting nulls because those are near empty. When you look at this, when you look at something like store and load more, there are null values. That is why we are seeing those nulls. So I think they are okay. So let me remove that filter. So now let's just concentrate on whatever we have on this side. We have the cells and the margins, which have been they have the cells and the margins which have been pivoted. So this is called pivoting. So bringing the cells and the margin into their own lines like that. So from that point, I'll just come back to before pivoting and look at the reason why we are not able to see cells. Those are the functions, okay, here. So the reason why we are not able to see sum, because you are supposed to aggregate by sum. So the reason why we are not seeing those sums is because of what I've just said down here. So for you to get that, you just go to the setting there, and then you'll be able to be back to the like what operations did you do. So you'll be able to find them on the other side. So it means I'll need to do something here and change this. Let me just first change this to either decimal or whole number, but it's good to change them to decimal. You insert a step by changing. That is now the first time you are supposed to change our types. Okay, so by just changing that to that. So looking at this, okay, so it changed well. So what I will do, I'll just remove those first types. The first time the types were changed, I'll just remove those so that I remain with now this one as my first. Let me also remove this first so that this can be my first time I'm creating. I'm changing the data type, okay? So that I have source the way it is without like having those change type, a lot of change types. And then we pivoted. Okay, so these are empties when you look at them. And then there we replace the values. I think they are okay, yeah. So I'm supposed to change my type at this point. So I want to use decimal and then insert that step there. So once you insert the step, just wait for it to load. Once you insert the step, you can now check and then load more to just look at our data, what it has and what it's giving us. Once you load it, you can now check on the pivoting. Margin is still counting. Okay, now there it's still counting because we used count. So we can come here and now check. We can now see that we've activated all the others. So now I want to use sum, which is the right thing that we should use. Once you click OK, so it will aggregate, I think it's line by line, something like that, if I got it correctly. So it will aggregate line by line. So this one giving us null, it means they don't have any value, the null ones. So these ones, the null ones don't have any values. So I think for now, okay, these are the ones that are empty here. So meaning those are empty. These are empty. Looking at it, these are empty. These are empty rows from just this point going up. So at this point, I think it's wise to now remove the blanks at this point. Now you can just filter the blanks. Let me load everything. Because this means they don't have any data at this point. Yes. So let me use, okay, yeah. So that is Power Query. So you remove this, just filter it, or filter, or remove empties. Remove empties. Yes, you can remove empties, or you can filter the blanks. So you just need, but the best thing is, like, let's remove the blanks first before we think of removing the empties. We can blunder maybe when removing the empties. Okay, like that. And we'll have our data set in a way that is pretty. So, and looking at it, we changed our data type at this point when we were changing this. So this one is text. So I don't need it to be text. I need it to be whole number. Okay, so, and then also this one. So that is the second time we are doing our, now we are controlling the way we are working on our work. So we can do that. Change type on this first change type up there. I think I forgot to do it. That is why I'm doing it at this point. So we have already two. So from that point, we are now almost done with this. Looking at it, I think for me, I believe it's now beautiful. It's good now. So we are only remaining with the date. And you remember when we changed it directly to date, there is a way it misbehaved. So it will give you an error like that. So opening on the error, so that is what it will tell you, of course, at the end of the day. So what we need to do, let's just remove that. And then above, before changing the type, we can do local. You can go to date here, either year date. Okay, so that one is still not there. So I'll go here, change type, and then use local here. Insert, yes, accept, insert it, insert a step. And then now what we need to do is to change to date time, because we need it to change to date first, date time, and then we select the country. So we are looking at English United. Let me start with United States. I think let's start by United States. If it does not work, I can now maybe change it to UK. One of them must work at the end of the day. So we have the United States, and then click OK. So you change type by local. Okay, that one, I think it has worked. And then let's go to change type. That is it. Okay, it's still giving error down here. So meaning we need to change United Kingdom. Okay. Sometimes it can start eating up on your memory as you continue. So you need to have something powerful. Looking at this, it seems it worked. So I don't see any error. I don't know why that this one is showing us there's something here. Okay, so anyway, you need to work between the two in order to make sure that you're getting the right like local and so on. So at this point, I think now we are done. Now this one looks clean, so I don't think there is anything. So the other thing is to just look the relevance of each and every column that you have. Is it going to be relevant maybe when you are working on your report, or what is needed when you are doing your report? So the other time we were talking about the M language. So you just come here on home, transform, and then there's something here that you click in order to bring you like that. Let me just find it somewhere here. Advanced editor, this one here. So when you click on the advanced editor like that, this is now the M language. Like this is now the language. It's almost the same as the one that is there in this other one. I think it's the same Nehemiah, because looking at the two, I don't know if okay, we look at the one on the developer tab. So once you are done, there's a very big explanation about this. I've not like gotten it well, so I cannot explain that because I'm yet to understand it. So you can. This is the only thing that I think I got from this. You can wrap it so that you get it in the same text where you can be able to read it well. So I think for me this one is something perfect. So once you are done with this, you can now load it. You close and load. So when you close, or you can change maybe even the name of this one. Maybe you can decide to call it sales only without a lot of details like that. So you can decide to call it sales underscore, maybe something like, and mostly when you are doing naming, try to name them with maybe those underscores. Sometimes you'll find that there's a place you will go and try to do without maybe the underscore, and then it will start giving you a lot of errors. And then also there's something that needs to be done here. Maybe if you want to make your data to be more flexible in a way, you can decide to remove some few lines above there so that it does not maybe restrict you to a specific it does not restrict you to specific columns in a way. So after that, you can just click close and load. Once you click close and load, it will now bring you to now our Excel on the front side of the Excel. So you worked on all those on the backend, and then now it brings you here. So now it's getting the data. That's it for it to get. It has some errors, so I think the errors are on the dates. Looking at it. Oh, errors is in the sales, not even dates. Okay. I thought it was dates. So let's look at why are we getting these errors. Just click on that specific. I'm sorry, are we together? Hello?
Yes.
We are getting lost.
You're together.
Okay, so the error we are getting is there are some fields that have an A. I think we can be able to see this, and that is a text file, and we transformed our data to be from a text to decimal. So what I need to do is to replace the NA with a 0. Okay, so I'll come back to my data set and then go back to values, where before we did that transformation. Okay, so I come here and then also click replace. Okay, replace values. Okay, I'll insert again another and then you find NA and then replace it with 0, so that at least we can change it to enter number value. Okay, now that one no. So replace errors. Okay, I think this one I'll do it from down there. So you replace errors with 0 so that it can give you a figure.
Excuse me, sir. Where are you going? How dare you? I'm the Kenyan Minister for Defense and I need to see the president,
Okay, it has done it, so I'll remove this one. Delete this.
What is it? Excuse me, Mr. Vice President.
After that, now I can go back and just close and load. So it depends. with whether that error was like you can find that one was a text, and it's the reason why it's bringing that error. So it's good to replace it with maybe a 0 or something like that. But anyway, that's a way to deal with it. I'm still seeing there are some errors. So from that point, we'll be able to work around now we can now like move this now to Power Pivot to now start running our analysis on the Power Pivot. So up to that point, before I move to the other data set, I think this one I'll try to look at where that the issue is, because it's still giving that error. So there's still an error. The error. Okay, so there's something that needs to be done there.
Excuse me, Mr. Prison Warden. I just want to inform you that the suspects in cell number 254 might have concealed weapons. Please, like, care for us. It's a code red.
So I don't know if there's anyone who has a clue about that. You can help me on this part. I think I'm forgetting what's supposed to be done there. Okay, but that is a way. I think I'll figure out that later, and then maybe I'll share how to deal with such an error. But that is a text file that is on that part. So let me just close it first. So it's good if you just delete this, so that it does not like give you a lot of problems. So you are supposed to look at the VBA side. Yeah, it's almost the same. I think you just write your code on this part when it comes to VBA. So there's a way that you almost write almost the similar codes like that, and then it just redirects it to the front part here. So I think they are also using M language. So I think that is how you perform your transformation. So at this point, when you are here now, if you compare the first data that we were looking at, this one here and this one, I think this is the best that you can use in maybe doing your manipulation. You can decide to find maybe you have the margins and the cells. Maybe you can decide to find you can multiply that to this in order to get like now the cost, maybe the cost of sales, and then maybe if you want now to get the gross profit. Gross profit is always sales minus cost of sales. So that is the gross profit for this. So you can decide to. So if you want to go back to your data, let's say I want to go back to my query, Power Query. So you just double click there. You always have that one. So you double click, and then now you can do some formatting here, so that at least you don't have to do it on the front side. So this one you can decide to change it to percentage.
Also,
yes.
Nimo's hand is up. I don't know whether she has a question or comment. Nimo, you can unmute and speak.
Also, let me ask.
Yes.
Did you like input some formulas for for the gross money, for the margin, for the profit and whatnot?
Also, the sales and the margins were given, so I've just transformed the data like this one. It's the first time now that I'm now working on the formulas.
So you haven't. It's like you just have like data. You've just been given data that you're trying to transform. It's not that you're calculating or anything.
Yeah, I'm transforming it first so that I can be able to calculate now what maybe the margins and maybe you already have the margin and the sales. Now from the margin and the sales, the only thing that you can get from that is maybe you can only get the cost of goods sold and the gross profit only, because those are the only calculations that you can calculate. So after now, running this, that is when now I've gone to now after loading it back to Excel, that is when now I've started now calculating the margin and the cost of goods sold. Okay. So I just wanted now to give this a good it's called what? Sorry, my English is bad. I just want to add some commas and then do this to be a percentage.
Sawa.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find where to do that. I think it's usually somewhere here. I don't know even if it's in the forefront or I need to go to Excel. Okay, this thing can be sometimes intimidating. They are all over. So, okay, let me just go back to the front side and do it from this point. So I can decide to come this one, I add a comma, so just a normal one. So now we are going back to what we were doing. And then this one, I'll need it to be in percentage. And then now this one, you add a comma and now another comma. Okay, so these are the gross margins. So, and for you now to make these be very much interactive and maybe user friendly, you now use the Power Query to now query these in order to give you a meaningful feedback. I think with the margin, what else can we calculate here? The other things we need now to do to using the Power Pivot, and that is something we are now moving to. Any question up to this point before now I switch to Power Pivot? That is how you can work on this without using a lot of formulas. I've only used two, the plus and minus and the multiplication only. Questions? Okay. Without questions, it means we all get what needs to be done there. So I will not waste more time, but move to Power Pivot. Power Pivot is now interesting because that is where now you can do all those calculations. So as we started, I just said that I decided to borrow this data. So that is how they transformed. I started with this data to transform this data so that I show you how maybe something like this was reached. So that is how they did in order to reach this point. So in case maybe they add another data, you just go to the Power Query side and then you refresh it. Once you refresh, it will refresh everything from the Power Query directly to Power Pivot and then directly to the front end on the the pivot tables. Okay, so let's just work on fundamentals, how to work on the Power Pivot and how to bring reports to live. So I will. So here you have already been given. This one is usually generated in with M language. There's a way they generate this. It's advisable because you'll be creating a dimension table for the dates instead of using the dates that are available in the fact table. So we have the people like managers. Yeah, maybe managers. And then we have things like store. We have products, and then things like commission. So these are the dimension tables that we are given. So, and then maybe you need to run some business overview and performance of the store. So if I want to run Power Pivot, the first thing you need to do is to activate it on your Excel. So I don't think there's anyone here who is using Excel below 2016. I'll not assume, but I hope so. No one is using below 2016. But if you are using, you can just get a new, you can upgrade your Excel so that at least you will be able to see some of these, I think Power Pivot, even Power Query. I think something below 2016 will have a lot of hard time. So you just need to come to add-ins. And then there's also another interesting add-in that is used for statistics. It's called Regressit. It's very interesting. If you can look at it, it will you feel something. It's an add-in that you just add into your, you have to import it. So in a way, so once you import it, and then you can activate it to your sheets. So what I was even looking at was Power Pivot. So go to add-ins and then com add-ins. It's always there. And then you will find, is it coms or where? Okay. Sometimes they can be confusing. Power Pivot, it's not here. Mine has disappeared. Yeah, it's supposed to be in comms. But anyway, mine is activated, so I don't know where it has gone, but it's supposed to be in comms. Microsoft, here it is. Power Pivot for Excel. So you need to activate it. Anytime you come in and find that it's not active here, you just activate it. Like the way my Regressit is not active. So what you do, you just do this. You deactivate first, like that. Once you deactivate it, you just come and reactivate it. That is an example if your Power Pivot is activated and it's not showing up there. You just, every time you open Excel, you'll need to activate it again. So there's a time I think I saw that behavior in one of my in the Excel. I think there was a problem with the Windows, so it could not handle having it there. So what you do, you come to this point where you see Power Pivot and then click Manage. So when you click Manage, this one also you can you can bring it on board. So most of the time this one is like a back end of now the Excel itself, like that Excel. So let's say you have done with working with your sales data, you can now come and import it here. So so you go to other source and then you go to, so make sure you are able to know which type of data it is, because that one is sales. So I'm looking for these sales which has 5,641 kilobytes. So I go to Excel file here or text file below, and then you browse, and then this is what I'm looking for. So double click, use first row as column header. Make sure that you like click that, because if you don't, it will like mess you up in a way. And then you click next. So what I need only cells, these cells, sheet. It will show you all the sheets that are there in the workbook. So take the sheet that you need, and then you can preview the table so that at least you understand what you are bringing on board. So this one will show you how the table will come on. It will come into the Power Query. So click OK, and then click Finish. So when you click Finish, it will start importing. So you just give it time. It will show you the number of rows that it has transferred to your sheet, and then you just click Close. That way you have already imported. So something very you need to always be key about is to just look at these top rows, and then down here you'll see that it will show you like which table it has, like which sheet it has brought to your workbook. So the first thing is I'll just start by saving. And then we have the upper side. The upper side, you'll find that you'll be bringing in the data. Like this is where you'll be able to like manipulate your data. And then this down here, this is where you'll be able to like perform your analysis. Like you put formulas down here as you continue. So what we need to look is like we are on the data view. You can go to diagram view. When you go to diagram view, it's just exactly as we know in BI, Power BI. So looking at this, you are able to see different figures. Currently, we've only like brought in the sales fact table. This is the fact table. This is now where like live data is being like processed each and every day. Let's say someone has ordered a product, it will just always update here. And then we have the dimension table, which will always like have dimension table will have unique values. So you'll be linking dimension tables to the fact tables as you go. So if you want to go back to data view, you just click data view like that. So here, there's no much thing that you'll be doing. So anytime you've worked on, maybe in this data, I need to change something. I'll have to go back to my Power Query, do the changes, and then do the refreshing. It will bring to Excel, and then from Excel, you will come and refresh here. It will bring it to Power Pivot, and then Power Pivot will take it to Pivot Table, because now we'll have to create the Pivot Table. So to just cut all those like long process like that from one point to another like that, now Power BI will now like do all those things using one application without like having any problem or any challenges. So in Power Pivot, we use also DAX formula to like run our analysis from one point to another. So I'll just work on maybe a formula so that at least and then also bring on board those other like dimension table, and then maybe do link them together so that at least we see how the power of like this Power Pivot. And then from there maybe we can look at them maybe as we continue. So the first thing that maybe I need to do, maybe I want to find the total unit sold at this point. Or also there's another thing that I think was very much interesting that I saw. Let's say I want to find the total units sold. Let's say I want to look at, so you can also look you can filter to check so that you be sure of what you are working on. This is unit price, and then unit sold, and then maybe I want to find the price of this product. So we have let's see, is something. You can add tables somewhere. I don't think. Okay, so let's say I want to find the total price of these products. Like if it's this product one by one, maybe I want to find the total selling price. Okay, so total selling price. So I can come here. You can decide to use it, to do it once. Let's say I want to find. Okay, so it's usually total price. Let's say total price. So the first thing that you do, you need to put that column and then click equals. Okay, and then now you say maybe sum x. Sum x will calculate like line by line, and then add sum add the total amount. So with sum x, you are looking for the table. So we are looking for the sales table. For calculate, you need to use calculate sum sum x, and then now you are looking for the table, which is the sales table. Let's okay, sales table, and then expression. And then comma. Okay, let's do this and see. Okay, so this is now the harder part. So there's a way you calculate it. Just a minute. So unit sold, let's say sum and then unit. So that one will give you the sum of all the units that were sold. So you just use that formula like that, and it will give you it will make all the sum of all the units that were sold at this point. So let's say I want to find total price. So in this one, you have to put that. For Power BI, you remember you just indicated equals, and there was no harm at that point. So, but in this, you'll have to use that. Is it a column, and then an equal sign, and then we do sum x. Is it sum x? So sum x, and then table. The table that we are looking at is sales table. It's the sales table. Unit sold. And then you multiply by sales table. Oh. So, okay, before I do that, I think let me, okay. So the expression is let me see if I'll be able to remember this. Yeah, it's working. So that is what you do. So what this function does is that it multiplies line by line. Sum x will multiply line by line, and then at the end of the day, add all of them all together. So you can do that, and then maybe reduce it to the specific decimal places that you need to do. Okay, so that is just an example of something that this can do, but let me so once you are done, you can save your work, and then you can get out of that. In case maybe you need to get back to your worksheet, you can just do that, click that. Even after moving away from this, you can just click that, and it will be you'll be able to get back. So if I want to add these other data, and then maybe do some few reports, you just come maybe to the dates part. You can add data to this worksheet. So it will bring it to this point. Once it has brought it to this point, the best thing that you can do, you can maybe go to the diagram here and maybe create that relationship. It's just the same way we did it in Power BI. You just bring that there. So, and it will create the relationship one-to-one, one-to-many. But I think in Power Pivot, it cannot create many-to-many relationship. So it can just create, I think, one-to-one and one-to-many. So whenever you find an error, just know maybe it's because of that cap. So when you double click, it's almost the same way we do it in Excel, not in Power BI. So you'll be able to see that. So maybe once you're done, Just make sure you save it. Maybe I bring these other ones and still create the relationship. Manager ID, we'll go with that manager ID. Duplicate, so it contains duplicate. So I think the reason they say that that one had a problem is because now that one will create many to many. That is now like an example. You see, that is many to many. In Power BI, it will just connect and create many to many relationship. So in this one, you can either decide to like delete one, because I think the issue was on this. You see that is 23 and this is 23. So you can decide to delete one because it's the same person. This person got out of the Nimi and then came back. So the best thing is maybe, anyway, this one we will advise. I think looking at it, the best thing was to remove it or delete that manager from that. So you see here, you cannot like do that deletion. So you go back to this here and remove this manager. Once you remove the part where he left and came back to the company, so the thing, you just refresh. Once you refresh, it will update, and then close because it's done. Once you close and get back to this, and then link manager ID to manager ID, it will create another one-to-many relationship. So let me bring the rest. Store ID, will go with store. Product, these will come with product. The product, let's look at this one. Will go with product ID with the SKU. Okay, it has created that relationship. Let's look at it. So this one, SKU and the product, they are the same thing. So, and they are creating one-to-many relationship. Commission. So this commission, you'll find that commission will, okay, sorry. So you just need to click into the, so this here, we have commission, and then we have here, and then, so the commission will relate to the manager, this manager, because now this one is the year the manager served in that that office or something like that. So once you create that relationship, now you can now like now start creating things like your dashboard and so on. But now there are some more things that needs to be done. I think I'm forgetting some. I just this is something that I think I mastered here. The rest I'm still like perfecting on them, but I know it's something that it's somehow related to Power BI. So it's something, mostly the DAX part. I think that is where I somehow forgot how it's done, but it's almost similar to how it's done in Power BI. So once you link this to this, so it will be generating and then creating that through that relationship. You'll find that now you can come and calculate this commission like there's a way we were doing it in the DAX in Power BI, whereby you could like find that relationship related with this, and then you bring it to the managers, and then from the managers you now like take it to the fact table, because the most important part is like working on the fact table. So Now, after creating that relationship, that is now when maybe you can now decide to come and create a pivot table. When you create a pivot table, you just use existing table, and then you go maybe to that, and then like create something like this. Okay, now once you create something like this, you remember the first time we were creating the pivot table, when we were doing the first round of this, the first training, you could only see like the data for that specific sheet. But now here we are having how many sheets? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 sheets, 6 plus the fact table. And at this point here, all these, like the date, the management, store, and everything, they are now coming to the client view. So, and most of the time, you'll find that there are those relationships that are on the client view that you like. You want to see them on the back end, but you don't want them to be seen on the front end. An example is the date. The date, or when you come to something like on the fact side, you'll find that something like this, that date ID, you find here date ID are in numbers, but the dates on the date dimension table, they are in dates. You remember you can convert date into like numbers. There's a way Excel works on it on the back end, so it understands, and that is why it created that relationship. Otherwise, it could not. So I don't want maybe something like this date, I don't know, store ID, things like this one here. Product ID, I just maybe want units sold and those two to be visible. So you can just select them, the ones that you don't want to appear on the client view. Maybe, yeah, something like that. And then you right click and then you hide it from the client tool. Okay, so before hiding, let's just see what I mean. When I come here and I come to the cell fact table here and click it, you'll see date IDs. So at the end of the day, we'll find that these are a lot of noise on the client view, on the client, I'll say client view. So the best thing is to just like reduce a lot of those unnecessary information on the front end. So just click like that and then right click. Once you right click like that, you click hide from client tool. Once you click for hide from client tool, things like this one will not be visible on the front end and it will have reduced a lot of information. So when I come again here, I'm not seeing them. I'm only seeing the most important thing. Like also let's we can decide to hide other things like this one. I don't see how relevant they are for us on the front side. Okay, so just hide it from client soon. So you can just do all the operation on the back end here, but on the front end, you'll not be able to see a lot of things. So on the sold part, the sales part, you'll be able to see 1, 2, 3, 4 things only. Like for I'll be able to come and see only this. And now, all the functions that now you'll be running, on the like this one here, let's say I want to look at the unit sold, and then I want to compare it with maybe the timeline. Dim date, I want to look at per year. So there are 2 years. So by just working on working, you are able to see, it will be able to categorize between 1 year to another. So after even working on that, you'll be able to come and even remove things like this, unit sold, unit price, and margin, raw margin. And then now you remain with the most relevant things that you will use maybe when you are slicing your data. The most relevant thing that will be needed by the client on the front end. maybe I want to divide it by, let's say, I need by location. I need by location. On the back end, I only have one unit down here, but I can manipulate this one unit like to bring me different, I can perform different functionality on this, and then it will be able to give me a specific summary that I need on this other part. And at the end of the day, when you do your calculation, it will still give you whatever you have created. Maybe you can want to add something like total price onto that. So with that, you will find that there's no formula that I've used, but at the end of the day, I'm getting like the relevant information or the information that I need from this data, and also like it's giving me informative, like it's informing me on what is happening on these with my data set. So now the only part that I'm not quite like I'm not like I'm not that quite conversant with is the DAX part, and I think with some time I think I'll be able to run those functions in order to come up with like specific data that I need. But at the end of the day, this is how it's worked on, and you can decide even to do. There's also something very interesting here. When you go here, you can decide to do power. We have power pivot, and then we have power what? There's a graph part of it called the insert part. You can decide to come directly to insert, and then you go to power chart, this one, and then power chart. What chart? No, power. Okay. Okay, it is. It's called. So you go to existing, and then now from here, you can decide maybe to do those timelines, and then so these are the axes. So you can decide to put the pricing like that, and then maybe you want to do by manager, maybe by manager. So it will be able to like create for you those like those analyses like that. So I think because of time, what I will do, so those are some of the things that Excel can do for you, even without thinking about maybe things like formulas. But formulas are also important for you to master, because when now it comes to things like DAX, without understanding the formulas, it becomes very hard for you to master them. Because I think there's something that was very much interesting as I was looking at this. Okay. There's something that was very much interesting. So if you want to go back to Power Pivot, Power Pivot, you just click that, and then you click Manage. And then you expand that. It will be able to expand for you. So when you come to things like, was it in product? So there's this price here. So you need to also like master them, which is important. Okay, this one here. So there's a function like switch. So let me just use switch. switch, which is very important. So expression, you add the expression and then the value. So the expression that maybe needs to be looked at is SM. And then after SM, we need to maybe put something like that is like the first expression that you need to change this one from SM to small. Okay, and then you click comma. Now another advantage is that it will always tell you what it needs to be done here. So once you're done everything, you will close and then you click enter. You'll be able to search each and every expression, and then it will be able to give you exactly what needs to be done. So again, I say I'm not an expert in DAX, so this is part of DAX. So I'm still also learning how to manipulate it. So I've not reached a point where I can just do it off it without confirming where I'm going wrong. So up to that point, that is what I'd say is how you can use your Excel in a smart way so that at least you can save on time. And I know today we had said that we are going to look at maybe things like formulas, but I think formula is something that almost everyone knows. It's something that they need to look at. But also this one, I think it's something that can boost your knowledge for understanding the formulas, and then now trying to see how you can now master how to take advantage of Excel now as a whole when you are maybe running different different reports, or when you are running your data through Excel. So I think up to that point, I will invite questions, and then after questions we can maybe call it a day, and maybe if there's anything I can help with. Hello. Questions? Thank you. Can we call it a day? If I'll give you back the floor, if there is no question.
Okay, thank you so much, Russell, for taking your time. I think after today's session, I've had a better understanding of Power BI DAX and how it works. Thank you so much. I think since there are no questions or comments, we can end the session there. Have a good night all.
Okay, good night.
Thank you.